Joey Yersick with the Drum Club. With me, to my left, drummer for Jason Aldean, Rich Redmond. Dude, how you doing? Good to see you.
Great to see you,
Great hanging with you.
Great.
Rich has a new website, crashcourseforsuccess.com. And what is Crash?
Crash. What is Crash? Well, being a drummer, I said I need some sort of an energy word. Like crash is an energy word. It's a very verbaceous word. It's verbaceous. But no, it's an acronym. It stands for commitment, relationships, attitude, skill, and hunger. And to me, those are 5 global concepts that I thought anybody can use to attract success in their life. And what I do, I would consider myself somewhat successful that playing the drums. I've never missed a meal. I've had some ridiculously horrible day jobs, but it's kept me on path for my passion to play the drums, make a living playing the drums. And I've used those concepts of commitment, relationships, attitude, skill, and hunger to stay on path and pursue my dreams. And what I do is put it together in a presentation, a 90-minute presentation where I get to play drums and I do some storytelling and I answer questions and I talk about these concepts as they relate to success in people's lives. People always want to attract success to themselves. So whether you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or the best soccer mom, anything you want to do in life, you can use these concepts as a global template. And we're having some fun with it. I do it at high schools, I do it at colleges, I do it at music stores and drum shops, and I'm working on bringing it to also a corporate audience. So when Applebee's gets together for their regional meeting or Cisco does a national meeting, they can bring in me, a high-energy guy, for their edutainment, because everybody wants to get a little bit of education. I like to spread the word, the gospel, the drumming gospel, but also I get to play drums, and there's not a lot of motivational speakers that play the drums. And let's face it, drums people love it. I mean, yeah, drum solo. It's man's first instrument. Like we went oh, and then we took a bone and we beat on logs, and that's how tribes communicated with each other. And and the fact that I get to do that and get paid to do it is like, it's a blessing. And so what I want to do is share that passion for what I do with other people, and hopefully that passion is contagious, so people can, whatever they want to do with their lives, they can take a little bit of that enthusiasm and just run with it.
Now, with teaching the Crash Course for Success, how many of these methods have you applied to your own career, to your own success?
Well, I've kind of noticed that, like, I didn't, when I was 8 years old and started playing the drums, say, I'm going to follow these concepts. I just tried to do, stay on path, set goals, and pursue my dream relentlessly. And there were a lot of speed blocks and doors slammed in my face that presented themselves along the way. And I had such a laser focus for myself, that I stayed on track. And I just noticed, okay, here 20 years later, I used these concepts. Well, I'm very committed to what I do. And if anybody in the arts has to be supremely committed, if you want to be a director or a screenplay writer or a dancer or a poet or a musician or a magician, a juggler, anybody in the entertainment industry has to have thick skin. They have to be committed to their craft. And relationships are incredibly important. How many times do you hear about somebody getting a job from Monster.com or from a resume? Usually it's friends championing other friends and saying, hey, Joey's the guy. He's the guy. He's a good drummer. He's a nice guy. He knows about video gear. Hire this guy. And attitude. I talk about attitude and how important attitude is in your life. I mean, attitude is everything. It's like 99% of the world runs off positive energy. Who wants to be around the Debbie Downer person? I mean, it's like, not me. It's like, next, cut, and skill is a very important thing. That makes up a huge portion of it. For drummers, when I talk to drummers, I say, okay, guys, do you know your rudiments? Do you know how to read? Do you know how to count? Can you play styles? Do you know how to play Latin music, big band music, Western swing, reggae, rock, metal, double bass? Can you play with a click track? Do you know how to play brushes? Can you play hand percussion? Do you have a musical mind? I talk about the skills you need to get from point A to point B in the music business, and play drums in your bedroom to actually take it to the big stage. You have to have these skills to give yourself a fighting chance in this ultra competitive music business. And then I talk about hunger. And literally when I moved to Nashville, I was literally hungry. I mean, I was broke, charging balance bars and ramen noodle on my Texaco credit card. And the first time I started to make money, the first thing I did was pay off my Texaco card. So I was literally hungry. And at this point in my life, the task for me is to keep that hunger, that passion of playing like a 16-year-old kid in the garage that just got his set of drums, and it's like, oh, wow, and jamming with Ronnie James Dio and Whitesnake records and Police records and Van Halen records. And kids that are coming up, they really need to be hungry to develop the skill and to practice. You have to be hungry for success. Otherwise, it's not just going to land in your lap. I mean, anything worth having in life, you've got to go for. You really got to go for it. Rocky, he didn't win those fights by just showing up. He showed up, boom, 8-pack from one-arm sit-ups and the egg whites and the running with the dog in the snow. I mean, he earned it, And so very seldom does things just land in people's laps. Anything worth having, you really have to kick and claw and scratch for. My Nashville journey, being there 15 years, I went and had to start all over at the bottom of the ladder, playing down on Lower Broadway, shaking hands, saying yes to every gig that came along. And then now 15 years later, I'm a little further up the ladder because I stayed on track. So you have to stay in the game, and you have to be committed. You have to value the relationships in your life, watch your attitude, develop your skill, and stay hungry. And so to me, that's the outliner for my presentation. And during that time, I play drums, obviously. I do some drum solos. I play along to #1 records that I've cut with Jason Aldean and other people, and I demystify some of the things that happen in the studios, like recording music. And also, people always want to know about the lifestyle of what is it like to ride $1 million tour bus, and what is your day like? What's your daily schedule like? It's like a big mysterious thing. So I demystify a couple of those things, answer a lot of questions. And I have wonderful sponsors like Sonar Drums and Remo Drum Heads and Sabian Cymbals and ProMark and Hansen Foots and Audio Technica. So many great people that play into what I do, and so everybody wins a door prize, and it's just a fun event. You know what I usually call them, Joey, is the people that come to the clinics are called they're party crashers. They're party crashers. And so a goal of mine is to have everybody that comes to my events be wearing these Crash Course for Success t-shirts. And what's kind of cool is you could go to crashcourseforsuccess.com and you could get Crash Course for Success, my bumper stickers, my all-weather bumper stickers, where I have this kind of like superhero guy that kind of looks like me, but he's like all ripped up, and he's got these sticks, and he's flying through these Sabian cymbals, and they're cracking everywhere. It's a funny little logo. And then t-shirts, and of course, if you're a real crazy fan, you could get my signed drumsticks and signed drum heads and that kind of stuff. So it's fun if you're a collector.
So talking about the Crash Course, it sounds really motivational, not just for drummers in a drum clinic setting, but also for anybody, like, say, from a high-end company, as you said earlier, Applebee's, or somebody that really wants to learn the business end of things and that motivational stuff. It really does sound like you don't have to be a drummer to walk away with something from this.
Yeah. I try to, no matter what environment I'm giving the presentation in, I try to modify the message just a little bit so everybody can take away something. So if the parent comes with their child, they're supporting the child, and they're like, there's this guy, he's doing a drum clinic today, I'm going to take my son, Johnny's going to the drum clinic. I want to make sure that the parent also gets something out of the event. And like I said, the message is so global that I think that a CEO of a company and his top executives will get something from the experience, and also just in a regular drum music store setting, we talk obviously a little bit more by very detailed drumistic information. But what I was motivated to put this kind of event together because I saw so many drum clinics where it was like some ridiculous chops drummer would come in and do a drum solo for 90 minutes and say, any questions, and then leave out the back door with his limo, and you never saw him. And it's like, I wanted to be approachable, and I wanted to entertain, educate, and inspire. So during that time, I want to show people drumistic stuff, but I also want to answer their questions. I mean, people have questions, burning questions. How do I get a gig? How do I keep a gig? What's your background? Can you read music? How did the Jason Aldean gig come around? What was it like to play with Bryan Adams? What is a typical day in the recording studio for you like? What's it like to ride a tour bus? Who are the three kings? Who are these best friends of yours that were in your wedding? So it's like there's definitely a story that I have to be told. It's not completely unique, but there's some very unique elements to my Nashville journey. So I wanted to share this information. So when people come to the event, like I said, hopefully they're inspired to do something special with their lives. Hopefully they've learned something, and hopefully I've entertained them. If you're a diehard Jason Aldean fan, drum fan, music fan, you're going to see me playing along to some tracks that you've heard on the radio, which is always really fun. And what would a drum clinic be without playing a drum solo? And a lot of times I say, guys, I've been playing drums for 20-something years now. I'm just going to sit down and make some music. And hopefully during that time they're going to hear some rock and some hip hop, and they're going to hear some funk and some soul and some double bass and some percussion elements. They might hear a merengue, a cha-cha-cha, a songo, a samba, some bebop, maybe some brushes. Maybe I'll play my body. Who knows? But hopefully some music will be made, and it's just a great thing. And I've been doing it now for about almost 3 years, and the response has been really good. I'm getting some good feedback from people, so I feel like I'm on track with the presentation.
Mm-hmm. All right, so any additional info you want to give out on Crash Course for Success?
Yeah, sure. You can go to www.crashcourseforsuccess.com and find out all the information you need to know about the event. And there's some information for booking me there as well. And you can also find out more information on me at richredmond.com. It's REDMOND.com. What else? You could check Polestar for Jason Aldean tour dates. And if you're interested in booking the Crash Course, I like to do a presentation every day that I'm on tour. So look at those cities. If you're in those cities and you are a high school band director or a college percussion professor or a drum shop store owner or a musical instrument store owner, contact me and we'll set something up. It's very easy. I'll send you an electronic press kit and a rider and a contract. I call my sponsors, we set up the whole thing, and it's a no-brainer. It's a really easy event to host, and I look forward to bringing it to a high school, a college, a drum shop, or a music store near you.
All right, it's crashcourseforsuccess.com, also richredmond.com. Rich, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Barry. Ooh, that was a good one. See ya.